All right, we have a brand new update on D4. I have no idea what this is. It's the feedback from the beta. Let's read this. On the weekends of March 17th and 24th, Sanctuary let out a cry for help, a cry that would be answered by the hordes of the wanderers who rode on a nameless horse and loosened lizard crafts. They said thank you. Okay, let's keep going. Dungeons. One of the most common pieces of feedback we received is that players felt they were doing a lot of backtracking within certain dungeons. We have optimized multiple dungeons across all zones to minimize the need for backtracking. Here's a list of dungeons specifically featured in Fractured Peak Zone, which received layout updates. Okay. Our primary goal with the layout changes was to reduce certain kinds of backtracking, which detract from a player's experience. An example of this change is players previously needed to enter side rooms to interact with structure objectives, causing them to retread the same path. Now many of our structure objectives have been repositioned along the main dungeon pathways, making them easier for players to reach and allowing them to readily explore the dungeon after defeating the structure. The chance for an event to spawn inside of a dungeon has increased from 10% to 60%. Okay, so let's take this one thing at a time. So this is good. Their fix for the dungeon layouts, backtracking, was to literally change the layout of it to put the objectives on the main path. One concern that I had about backtracking. What's up, Woody? Good to see you, buddy. Thanks for the 40-month resub. Big player. One concern that I had about dungeons and backtracking was it's not completely a problem that you have to go to the side rooms to complete an objective. That's not the entire problem. The problem is if you don't go in the right order of the side rooms, then if you get back to the main area, you can't carry multiple objects. So if you go to objective 1 and you have a rock that you have to put on an altar, and instead of walking back to the altar, you walk to rock number 2, you can't pick it up. You have to literally go to the altar, put it down, go get a second rock, and put it down. I wonder if they would be willing to change that. Why can't I carry 2 rock objectives, right? Why can I only carry 1 quest item at a time? I don't know if that'll be later, but that's my initial thought to reading that. So the number of events that spawn inside of a dungeon has went from 10 to 60. First of all, I love the fact that they're actually telling us the chances of stuff that happens. I hate it when it's just a bunch of guessing. So now we know there's a 60% chance for an event to happen in a dungeon. I don't know what event means. Maybe it means the butcher. Maybe it means like the cursed chests or something. But the fact that these spawn a lot, I think, is just better. I think 10% is way too boring. It's very vanilla, always clearing the dungeon. More than half of the time, something's going to happen within your dungeon, I think, is the right play. To reduce the need to backtrack, small numbers of straggling monsters will seek out the player to help complete kill all objectives. Okay. This helps. Not the way that I would have solved it. I think Creparian, the way that he said he would solve it is the way that I would solve it. Let's keep reading. When Animus is gathered, the player nearby allies will gain 10 resource and reduce all active cooldowns, okay? Positing. Oh, they did it. They did it. This is exactly what I asked for, and they literally did it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So now when you're putting an objective down in a dungeon, it happens instantly. Thank God. This is exactly what I asked for. And the time to rescue was cut in half. Thank you. That's way better. You get a movement speed buff while you have an objective. Now this could actually this could actually give you a hilarious meta. Probably not what they intended, but what you could do is you could have a dungeon where you do the circle and you farm the elites. You pick up one objective just to get a movement speed buff, clear it, and then reset the dungeon. Pedestals have had their channel time from 2 to 0. Thank you. Returning a portable object to its pedestal fully restores the resources and resets the cooldowns. I wonder if this means you're going to have everything up for the bosses. All doors will now generate a mini-map ping when they are opened. I'm guessing, I'm guessing this means like the objective doors. Like the objective doors, I think, what they mean. All structure objectives in dungeons now have additional combat mechanics. So it's not just something boring you have to actually fight. While our dungeons offer a variety of objectives to complete, player feedback stated that the action of completing each objective felt tedious. This is true. We hope that providing bonuses and increase to mobility, carrying the objective items will streamline and vary the experience. This adjustment is merely a starting point. We intend to extend this philosophy. I don't see anything here that I dislike. And I love that we can actually do the damn animations and the objectives quickly. This might be a big improvement. This is going to help like noobs, the people that can't figure out what the hell you're supposed to do. This is looking, I'm genuinely impressed. Seriously. They literally listened to all the people crying about this because dungeons is what the main thing you're going to be doing. This stuff is super important. Classes. Effects like stun and freeze can be applied to elite monsters twice as long before they become unstoppable. So you can CC monsters more than before. I don't really have an opinion on this. I'm not sure what they should have done with this. So maybe that's the right answer. Maybe it isn't. I don't know. Reviewed class skills to confirm that all classes have access to sufficient skills that remove crowd controlling impairing effects. This is, I mean, let me pull up my document here. But if you don't know, I sent them a gigantic document. I sent them a gigantic document about how to fix this, and a lot of the stuff is actually in here. Rax's Diablo 4 beta feedback. Can I open this? Okay, I'm opening it. So this is actually in here. A lot of the stuff is in here. Where I said the crowd control is ridiculous, right here. And they're giving you access to remove crowd control impairing effects. Not exactly, I mean, that's good. Not exactly what I was hoping for. What I was hoping for is like the reverse of this one. I want some kind of inherent, I don't want it so high that it makes unstoppable not a valuable state to achieve in Diablo 4. Should be like that. What I'm saying is the inherent ability for elites to chain CC a character is ridiculous. They're saying by this change, the way that they want you to fix it is with a skill on your bar. There's nothing wrong with that. That's fine. Especially because that's how you're probably going to have to do it in PvP. But what I'm wondering is the inherent DR with hard CC toward a character too high? I'm wondering if they reviewed it. And if they reviewed it, I'm wondering if they came to the conclusion that it was fine. And if they came to that conclusion, I'm not sure that I agree with that. Many legendary powers have had updates to their effectiveness. I have no idea what this means. I have no idea what this means. Let's keep going. 10% passive damage reduction has been added for the Barbarian class. I thought that they already had 10%. Thought Barb already had 10%. Does that mean that they added 10 more percent? Or was I just making it up that they didn't already have 10%? Whirlwind now deals more damage and consumes more fury. This is actually kind of crazy because from my testing in the endgame, Whirlwind is already an S tier build. Now, nobody's going to believe me from playing the beta, but I already thought Whirlwind was S tier. So now it does even more damage. So, okay. Double Swing enhancement refunds its full fury cost when used on stunned or knockdown enemies. Okay, I might have to take a look at Double Swing again. I thought Barb's already had this, and I already thought this was an S tier skill in the endgame. Okay. Companion skills will now deal heavily increased damage. 17 damage. All ultimate skills have had their cooldowns reduced. Usability improvements have been made to Maul and Pulverize. A non-shape shifting skill will transform a druid back to their human form. Doesn't sound like it's enough, but I mean, it's better than nothing. Summon minions will die more often. Wah. Many bonuses in the Book of the Dead have had their stats increased. This was true. People might have misinterpreted this. The Book of the Dead is pretty underpowered, so I'm glad that they did this. The damage dealt by corpse explosion has been reduced. This is an oof because this was their best skill by far. The brightness of the skeletal warriors and the mages has been reduced. Damn, I actually like this. It was really easy to see my minions. Man, Necro's getting the nerf bat straight away. Upgrades for subterfuge skills have their bonuses increased. Multiple passive skills have been increased. All imbuement skills have their cooldown increased. So this might be a big nerf because imbuements are godly for rogues. So they might be bringing rogues back to planet Earth. Charge bolt's damage was increased. The mana cost to cast has decreased. So charge bolt is way better. Decreased the damage of chain lightning and reduced its effectiveness on bosses. God damn it! Wah! Decreased the cooldown for incinerate skill. Firewalls will now spawn underneath enemies more frequently. Firewall is already a low-key godly skill. So this was a huge nerf. This was already a gigantic nerf. The meteor in enchantment slot skill used to be godly. Then they changed it for the beta, and it was absolute utter dog shit. Now they're increasing the lucky hit chance for it. I guess you have to see the numbers, but it's too many chances on chances on chances on chances that make it dog shit. It's a chance for meteor to proc on your lucky hit chance, which is another chance. So it was a colossal nerf. They're trying to backtrack it, and we'll see what it is, but there's no way Meteor returns to its former glory. Whenever we introduce changes to our classes, it is with the goal of making both them and their skills feel impactful and powerful. Your feedback has helped us uphold this ideal. Some players have adeptly noticed that certain skills were too powerful. Corpse Explosion and Chain Lightning, probably too powerful. One of our goals for skills is to have them be interested in wield in interactive terms of itemization and combat feel. We've made some changes to help in this regard, with one example being Necromancer's minions. We made a change that makes them more vulnerable, which makes Raising the Dead a more active component of Necromancer's gameplay. Launch is just the first step of our class balance journey. I can give it to them. They probably balanced it pretty well. I'll tell you a problem though for Necromancers. It was already a problem. And now it's a problem you literally have to solve. If you're relying on your summons while you're playing the game, especially on bosses, sometimes you don't have the corpses to bring your minions back. So I had to use a generator, whatever generator was that was generating corpses so I could keep bringing my minions back. Now that they die even more often, that pretty much means that you're not going to be able to use corpse skills to bring them back. Decompose, yes. And they didn't nerf Hydra. So Hydra's still there. UI filled an issue with the in-screen reader not reading key prompts. Okay. Fix an issue where actions could not be bound to the scroll wheel or mouse wheel. That's huge. Does that mean force move as well? Fix an issue where evade couldn't be bound to the right analog stick. Chat will now display on the left side of the screen. Nice. This is how WoW does it in Diablo 3, and so people will like that. Character stats will be displayed by default when the player. That's much better. Move and interact inputs can now be mapped to one button. They did it. They did it. They did the thing, the convoluted thing that I asked for. It's right here. The thing that I said I wouldn't explain, but just do this. It is, where is it? I can't find it. Trust me, it's there somewhere. I can't find it. Somewhere in there. They did the thing that we asked for. So people were hating the font. I remember there was threads and threads and threads of hatred here. And they replaced it with a different one. Huh. Wow, they just straight up replaced the font. Fixed multiple issues that allowed bosses like the Butcher to become unresponsive. Butcher has been reevaluated for difficulty and will present a greater challenge. Oh, wow. They made him harder? Wow. So this is something that I believe Barbarian was saying. By the way, there was one thing I wanted to go back up there about another thing. I watched all the videos. Another thing Barbarian said that I agreed with him. This one. Let me zoom in here. This one. Reduce the need to backtrack small numbers of straggling monsters. We'll seek out the player to help complete the kill all monsters objective. This is fine. But I agree with Barbarian. And I believe he was the one who said you should pretty much, in a big giant dungeon, never require you to kill every monster. Every monster is absolutely ridiculous. If you want us to clear 95% of monsters or 95% of monsters and every single elite, fine. But one straggling fallen in the corner of the dungeon that you missed, Den of Evil flashbacks, yes, does not enhance anyone's gameplay. I wish they would replace kill all monsters objectives. This is fine. They'll run after you. That helps. But I don't think they're going to be able to reach you if they're in the corner of the dungeon. I could be wrong. Maybe their AI is way better than I think it is. But Diablo monster AI is not something to put your money on. But I like the kill all monsters has been replaced for kill most monsters. And you have to kill the elites as well, or whatever they want to do. I prefer that solution than that. Actually, I would prefer you give us both to reduce backtracking. Fix an issue where vampire brutes use the shadow, and that would change. Increase the chance for a dungeon event to occur in Cellar. Cellar will now consistently reward a chest. So this is fine. I had it in here. I think I had it at the bottom. What is the point of cellars? Are they just a fun 30-second room? And I guess by reading these patch notes, I'm guessing that the answer is yes. Just something you pop in, you do a little dungeon, you do a little reward chest. You know, if they give you both, it's one room, and you get an event and you get a chest. So that might make them worth it. That seems pretty valuable. Imagine you're leveling and you got shitty gear. You see a cellar, you pop in, I'm going to get an event and a chest. I'm going to get something. Especially early on, that might be for speed running to get gear. So that's cool. Not everything in the game has to have some grand purpose to it. I'm not saying that. I just didn't know what they were doing with this. General quality of life. Fix an issue where players could increase attack speed by move canceling attacks early. Good. I absolutely hate this this tech. It's terrible. So I'm glad they fixed it. So this is they introduced stasis into the game because hardcore players were zoning out of dungeons and dying. The dungeon reset button has been disabled. What? Why is this a quality of life thing? I don't understand. What? What is this? This is literally my favorite button. What? Does that mean we can't reset dungeons? What? 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 Why? Where's You're not supposed to farm them. They were farmable for the beta only. When do they reset then? Huh. Huh. I don't understand. Gonna need more clarification on this one. The dungeon reset button has been disabled. Does it reset automatically? Do they not want us to reset the dungeons? How long does it reset for? Huh. What? I have no idea. Anyway, in general, they reset on full clear. Ah, that? But is that what they actually do? You have to buy the reset. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they reset on full clear. I have no idea. We definitely need some context around this. We'll definitely ask Blizzard. But anyway, guys, that's the Diablo 4 update. I'm impressed. I'm impressed. Got a lot of things that we got from our thing and our document. And did they say that this stuff is going to be live? A variety of fixes and updates to various systems in Diablo 4, all of which will be present in the version of the game that launches on June 6th. So not early access, but when it launches for everybody, they will have all of this in the game. Now, okay, I'm not trying to be skeptical here. I'm not trying to be devil's advocate here. But my question is how many of these changes did they already have in the pipeline that didn't come from feedback? How many of them were they already going to do? Or did they truly get the data from the beta and make these changes this quickly? I'm not being skeptical. I'm not. It's fine. I don't care how we get it one way or the other. But I wonder what the answer to that would be. Either way, I don't know if we'll ever know. But it's impressive. I'm impressed. A lot of this stuff was a nightmare, and they're fixing it. Looks like they have balanced the game quickly. I'm surprised that they didn't come to the conclusion that druids need help. The ultimate skills wasn't the problem. Companion, I don't know. Are we playing companion, leveling up for druid now? What about all the other problems? I'm very surprised here. Druids suck early game. Oh well, that's a D4 update. I'm impressed. What do you guys think?